Hello, sir. Thank you so much for sending me your resume, and I appreciate the opportunity to help you in any way that I can. Of course, we can have a full conversation um, together when you're available. I just wanted to give you some notes and some snapshots on your resume as we go through. Of course, I've redacted the majority of your personal information and won't really go into it, but just really quick, the first things that I wanted to point out would be right here. So we're going to transition over to this screen. So I have your actual resume in front of me, and then I also have this on the screen. So as you can see here, your resume is very well formatted. That goes without saying. I think that's the most important thing is that when you're applying to positions, your verbiage is the only thing that needs to change. The format, perfect. You have 2 pages, more than enough to showcase your 21 plus years of experience. The first thing that I will say is right here, this top part is a little bit wordy. You just want a quick snapshot of dynamic healthcare executive with the ability to balance strategic decisions and financial discipline with hands-on approach to leadership, resulting in profoundly positive organizational results. Now, again, depending on what job you're going for, you might want to put in the engaging communicator and relationship builder, but I don't know if that's going to be necessary for just a corporate director of operations or a corporate higher level director position, because not a lot of them are going to be looking at that community engagement aspect. Of course, they're going to always talk about that. They're going to want that to be part of your job, but that's not going to be a focus. When you're working at the VA, that is your primary focus, is helping all the veterans. All you care about is patient success and providing them with the insight and the value that they're looking for, or helping them. In a corporate world, a little bit different. They're looking about how much money did you help us generate while making patients feel comfortable. So a lot of doctors and nurses are doing 7-minute touches and things of that sort, which in the VA might be normal, but it also is abnormal in some of these more community-based hospitals. Some of these VA places are like, hey, don't worry about how long it takes to provide this person with care. Take your time. In a corporate world, that they will say that, but they don't actually mean that. So those are the first things right here. One of the things that I would change here is value-based care and ACO programs. No corporate environment is going to really know what an ACO program is. And I don't know how many hospitals are currently pushing value based care. While that's unfortunate, it's just a part of the reality. Um, the other thing, too, I would look at is so right over here. Where did it go? Provide and stakeholder engagement. I think that is a just a grammar error right there, provider and stakeholder engagement. But I think these three things, a lot of these could be cut down just a little bit. Where, healthcare operations and administration, that's part of contract negotiations and management. Cross function team leadership is very good to have. Strategic planning and execution, we could go a little bit more into that by just saying, value, what are you doing percentage wise of methodologies. Instead of saying strategic planning and execution, you might have certain healthcare strategic methodologies that you might use. And again, I'm just thinking out loud to go through, but instead of showing strategic planning and just saying that vague point, there's a lot of lean methods that you can go into, benchmarking, different types of models that you can put there. I think that would just be a little bit better value for you in the corporate world. In the government world, in the military world, they might say, oh, okay, yeah, strategic planning and execution, like that, we know what that means. That means this is the methodology that we follow as an organization, as the VA itself. But that's not going to be every company that you apply to. So it's going to also very much predicate on which jobs you're going after and the hospitals you're looking to work with. And we can discuss that, directly and have an actual in-depth conversation and not just a snapshot of your resume. But I think that's what's really important is if I was to take this specific section here, and I'm going to do that right now for you. I'm going to take this right here. And for a corporate world, so let's put this on its own page. So here are all of the value props that you have in your resume. So right here, let's go to page 2. So now you can do this for the rest of your positions where, again, depending on which jobs that you're applying to, most places, again, if you're applying to a position that specifies for volunteer services or managing volunteers, community outreach, things of that sort, then this is going to, you're going to want to keep this. But if you're doing just a basic corporate kind of, director position, they might not really be worried about that. What they're looking for is leads operational administration functions for 30 department staff of nurses, doctors, like what's the staff? Is it just admin style where you're working with managers, directors, corporate individuals, things of that sort? I think then that's where you would want to tailor this just a little bit differently. For right here, this is going to be something that you keep the same. Again, you're looking at vendor agreements, compliant with healthcare regulations to drive efficiency in provider care. That's basically what they're looking for. But now, can we put a percentage or some type of methodology that you utilize? Because this says a lot. You oversee contracting. What kind of contracting? Is it nurses contracting, facility contracts, maintenance contracts? Are you breaking down overall contracting and what vendor agreements are you working with? Is this specifically for medical vendors, medical equipment, vendors where it's, again, in this specific position for the director of operations, you are doing, this shows me community engagement and strategic partnerships. So you're working with nonprofits, local sectors, staffing agencies, maybe, I don't know, but again, putting that in there and showing, oversees X amount of contracting, and you don't have to go contracting. Again, thinking out loud, we can have a more in-depth conversation directly about what you're looking to do, but on the surface, this is just some basic advice that I would give going through. So X amount of contracting, handled 50 vendor agreements per month / year, whatever that was. Compliance with healthcare regulation. Now, again, I don't think you need to go into which regulations that you are in. HIPAA compliance. So compliance with HIPAA regulations, because you want to have that word there, HIPAA, and other, specific regulations. HIPAA, HL7. I know that's not a regulation, but that's a government body for exchanging data between two companies in the healthcare sector. I think that is HL7. Yeah, is a standardized integration. So this is HL7. HL7 International is just one of the standard ways for healthcare to connect with other companies like Epic or, other organizations such as that. So that's something you can put in there. Pioneered and directed the largest healthcare volunteer expansion. Now, this is good, but you can, depending on the job that you're utilizing, you can change this and use this experience, but take away the word volunteer expansion potentially if you're just looking for a director opportunity. Specifically looking at managing, all this stuff. Like I found a job online that I'm going to send you. And I think this would, for this position, would actually help, specifically talking about the community outreach, your capabilities of family, listening to voices. But we want to put like, how did you pioneer this in a small snapshot? You know, in your resume, we have all this here, hands-on approach to leadership, but we don't have it really in here where you explain, hey, look, this is a little blurb of how good I am. But instead of it being up here, you can shorten this just to dynamic healthcare person. That one, I think these 3 sentences right here, one, or these 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and then we can build upon this a little bit better to be more direct, to be more informative of exactly what you've done and what you can do for a hospital directly. Let me find, nope, that's the wrong one. 14, here we go. So without taking too much of your time, of course, let me know if you have any questions specifically, and I'm going to send you a job description that I'm looking at, because now this direct the extensive clinical expansion of adapted sports therapies for disabled veterans and establish the only regional sports clinic of its kind in the country focused on evidence-based modalities. That, I think, really digs deep into what you did. And then what we can also do is improve. So directed the extensive clinical expansion of adapted sports therapies for disabled vets by X percentage. And then that's it. Just adding that little bit of, hey, this is how much I did it for, or it depending on, and you would know this better than I would, putting this extensive, how long did this take you? Directed the extensive clinical care expansion of adapted sports therapies for disabled veterans in 6 months. Sorry for the caps. And established the only regional adaptive sports clinic of its kind in the country, founded on evidence-based modalities. So you don't have to put the 4 improved rehabilitative care outcomes. If you're going to put 4 improved rehabilitative care outcomes, what does that mean? What is that rehabilitative care outcomes are? What was the outcome? So improved, so first of its kind in the country, founded on evidence-based modalities, improving let's get the caps on it, improving rehabilitative care outcomes by 60%, or what I would, let's see if we can make this again. So directed, take this one all by itself. So directed the extensive clinical expansion of adapted sports therapies for disabled veterans. Okay, and for disabled veterans. So enrollment or something like that. So success enrolling 25% more patients established the only regional sports clinic of its kind in the country, founded on evidence-based modalities, improving patient success rate, rehabilitative, improving patient success rate by X percentage. and then allowing more time for patient success. Or I'm trying to think of a way to bridge the gap from saying, hey, I established a sports clinic, one of a kind sports clinic that improved patient success rate by X amount. So instead of saying rehabilitative care outcomes, you can say that, because I like that word rehabilitative, but I think it's a little bit too much when it's just trying to get the point across of saying establish the only regional sports clinic of its kind in the country founded on evidence-based modalities, improving patient success rate by X%. That's an easy way to put it, but again, you can dig a little bit deeper and try to say, okay, what am I trying to say here? I directed the extensive clinical care expansion of adapted sports therapies, and that grew by, like, what was the outcome? So here's what you did, and what was the outcome? So we want to show that 25% more patients enrolled in the program because it was so successful. That's what we're trying to do here. So for a lot of these jobs, they're looking at data-driven insights and feedback. So you're saying, hey, I saw this happen. I pioneered the largest healthcare volunteer expansion in history, which allowed me, um, hey, this is what I did, provided and directed the largest volunteer expansion in organization's history. Expanded recruitment to critical vacancies to dramatically improve patient outcomes. And now, since we know that, like, oh, okay, hey, great, that's what you did. But now, what was the data that you are using to showcase that? So Pioneer directed the largest healthcare volunteer expansion in organization's history, which again is good, but they don't care how big that was for that specific company. For the most part, of course, you care and you want to showcase that. But let's explain to the hiring manager that we pioneered and directed the largest healthcare volunteer expansion, providing 100 more volunteers per every 3 months. Directed and worked with recruitment to fill critical vacancies, to fill 75 critical vacancies in 6 months, improving patient success rates by and satisfactory scores by X percentage. I hope that makes sense. I'm doing as best as I can just to read your mind of what you're looking for in the private sector. However, this is something that goes for anybody watching this. This isn't just for one person, where, as you can see, what I'm trying to do is very similar to what you've done in some of your other positions. So let me open this up and go here. Let's go to this. Yeah. So this right here. So you have this. Now, again, I don't know if the private sector is really going to care about value-based care initiatives. All they're going to care about is the organic 5% annual renewal growth. Now, we can talk about how you utilize the value-based care methodologies. I don't know what those would be. Medical, because I saw this right here, this study that showed us defining and implementing value-based care strategy framework. But what strategies are they using? Is it a lean method? Is it, like, just value-based doesn't really give the healthcare facility exactly what you're doing and the time frame that it can be done in. Because when they're looking at your resume, they're going to say, hey, I have this program that I need to get done. I have this initiative that I want to implement. How long is it going to take? And who's going to be the right person to do it? So that's where we have to come from, that thought process. So I hope this video wasn't too long for you. Again, thank you so much for your time, sir. Greatly appreciate it. And at any point, let's get on a Zoom call or even, a phone call itself, whatever you're comfortable with, and we can go from there. Thank you so much again. Have a great day.